The grinding stone moved in rhythm with Amara's heart, steady, practiced, almost musical. Left to right, right to left, the rough stone against the smooth, transforming tough millet into fine flour that would become the evening meal. Behind her, the village stirred to life as it did every morning, chickens scratching in the red dust, women calling greetings across compounds, children's laughter drifting from the path to the stream. Amara loved this hour. The sun not yet punishing, the air still cool with night's memory, the whole world feeling possible somehow. "Mama," she called toward the cooking hut, "when teacher Okonkwo comes today, will you speak with him?" Her mother emerged, wiping her hands on her wrapper. At 40, Mama's face was lined by sun and sorrow, but her eyes still held warmth. "About what, my daughter?" "About school." Amara's hands never stopped their work, but her voice grew eager. "He says I'm the best student in the village. He says if I could attend regularly instead of just when work allows, I could sit for the examination. I could go to secondary school in the town." Mama was silent too long. "Mama? Did you hear me?" "I heard you." Mama crouched beside her, taking the grinding stone and continuing the work. Her movements were slower than Amara's, weighted by years of this same motion. "Your uncle is coming today." The change of subject confused Amara. "Uncle Obiora? Why?" "Business." The word came out flat. "Men's business." Amara wanted to ask more, but something in her mother's face stopped her. That look, the one that appeared whenever talk turned to the future, to dreams, to anything beyond the next meal and the next planting. "Finish the flour," Mama said, rising. "Then fetch water. Your cousins will need bathing before your uncle arrives." The morning passed in chores. Amara's arms ached from the water pot balanced on her head, the long walk to the river and back 3 times. She helped her younger cousins, Chidi, Ngozi, and little Oge, scrub the red dust from their skin, laughing as Oge splashed water everywhere but on herself. "When will Papa come back?" Oge asked, wrapping her small arms around Amara's neck. "Soon," Amara lied. Their father had gone to the city 9 months ago, seeking work to pay off debts. He sent money twice, then nothing. The village whispered that he'd found another woman, that he'd forgotten his family, that he was dead. Amara refused to believe any of it. "Tell us a story," Ngozi demanded. "The one about the tortoise." "Later." Amara dried them with a rough cloth. "Uncle is coming. We must be good." Uncle Obiora arrived at midday, when the sun turned the compound into an oven. He came with 2 other men, elders whose faces Amara knew from village meetings. They sat under the shade of the baobab tree, and Mama brought them water and kola nuts. Amara stayed in the cooking hut, out of sight as custom demanded, but close enough to hear fragments of conversation. "Drought has destroyed everything, debts must be paid, the girl is of age." Her heart stopped. The girl. They were speaking of her. "She's 14, her uncle's voice came clearly. "Healthy. Strong. A hard worker. She'll bear many children." "She's educated?" another voice asked. "Can she read?" "A little." "Enough." Uncle Obiora sounded dismissive. "What use is reading to a wife?" Amara's hands shook as she stirred the palm oil stew. She strained to hear more, but their voices dropped. Then laughter, her uncle's loud, relieved laugh, and the sound of hands clapping in agreement. Mama appeared in the doorway, her face a careful mask. "Come greet your uncle," she said. Amara wiped her hands and followed, her legs unsteady. She knelt before the men, eyes down, heart pounding. "This is Amara," Uncle Obiora said, as if presenting livestock. "Stand, girl. Let them see you." She stood, keeping her eyes lowered, feeling their gaze crawl across her body. "Thin," one elder commented. "But young. She'll fill out." "She's healthy," Uncle Obiora insisted. "Ask anyone. She never misses a day of work." The eldest visitor, a man with white hair and missing teeth, nodded slowly. "We'll send word to Baba Tund. If he agrees to the price, we'll return at the next moon." Baba Tund. The name meant nothing to Amara. She would learn its weight soon enough. After the men left, Uncle Obiora pulled Mama aside. Amara crept close enough to hear. "It's done," he said. 20 goats and 3 bolts of cloth. "The drought is killing us, sister. The children need to eat." 20 goats. Mama's voice cracked. "She's worth more than 20 goats. She's worth what the market says she's worth." Uncle Obiora's tone hardened. "Be grateful I found a buyer at all. Another year, and she'd be too old. We'd get nothing." Amara stumbled back to the cooking hut, her world tilting. 20 goats. That was her value. 20 goats to feed her cousins, to pay her father's debts, to satisfy her uncle's calculations. She thought of teacher Okonkwo's lessons, the way words on a page opened like windows into other worlds. She thought of her dream, chalk dust on her fingers, students' faces bright with understanding. She thought of secondary school, the examination, everything she'd worked toward, all of it worth less than a herd of goats. That night, Mama came to her sleeping mat. In the darkness, she held Amara the way she had when Amara was small and afraid of thunder. "I tried," Mama whispered. "I begged him. But your uncle is head of the family now. I have no say." "Who is he?" Amara's voice was small. "Baba Tund. A man from the eastern villages. His first 2 wives died. He needs someone young to manage his compound and bear children." "How old is he?" Silence. "Then, older than me." Amara closed her eyes, seeing nothing but darkness. "When?" "When the next moon rises. They'll come for you at dawn." In the cooking hut, the fire had died to embers. In the distance, a dog barked. Somewhere, a baby cried and was comforted. Amara lay perfectly still, feeling her mother's tears soak into her shoulder, and wondered if she would ever cry again. The village slept, but Amara's eyes remained open. She had memorized this hut years ago, every crack in the mud walls, every pattern of thatch overhead, the way moonlight filtered through the small window to paint silver rectangles on the floor. The sleeping mat beneath her had molded to her body over 14 years. The cooking pots stacked in the corner held the smell of every meal she'd ever eaten. Soon, all of this would be memory. Beside her, her younger cousins slept tangled together like puppies. Chitty, 9 years old, who followed her everywhere and cried when she left for the river without him. Ngozi, 7, who insisted on wearing her hair exactly like Amara's. Little Oge, only 4, who still crawled into Amara's mat on nights when thunder rolled across the sky, who would comfort Oge now. Amara turned onto her back, staring at the thatch above. Her mind raced through everything and nothing, the grinding stone she'd used this morning, the unfinished flour, the stew she'd stirred that would now be eaten by others. Small things. Ordinary things. Things that would continue after she was gone. The compound would wake tomorrow. Her cousins would splash in their morning bath. Mama would cook. Uncle Obiora would count his goats. And Amara would be on a cart, heading east to a man she'd never met. A soft rustle made her turn. Mama knelt beside her mat, a gourd of water in one hand and a small bundle in the other. "Come," Mama whispered. "Sit with me." They slipped outside, wrapping themselves in old cloth against the night chill. The moon hung low and fat, casting silver light across the compound. In the goat pen, animals stirred and settled. Mama unbound Amara's hair, letting it fall loose around her shoulders. She began to braid, her fingers working with the practiced rhythm of 20 years. "Your grandmother taught me to braid," Mama said softly. She learned from her mother, and her mother before her. "This is how we carry our stories, in our hands, in our hair, in the things we pass down." Amara closed her eyes, letting her mother's touch soothe her. "Tomorrow," Mama continued, "you will leave this compound. You will go to a place you've never seen, to people who will expect you to work and obey and ask nothing for yourself. They will call you wife, but they will treat you as property." "Then why send me?" The question burst out before Amara could stop it. "Why not fight? Why not run?" Mama's hands paused, then resumed their work. "Run where? To the city to find your father? He's gone, my daughter. Dead or vanished, it's the same. To the next village? They would return me. A woman alone has no protection, no voice, no choices. But I have no choices either." "No." Mama's voice cracked. "You have fewer than any. That is the cruelty of this world we live in. But listen to me, Amara. Listen carefully." She turned Amara to face her, gripping her shoulders with surprising strength. "They will try to break you. They will work you like a donkey and expect gratitude. They will tell you that you are nothing, less than nothing, because they paid goats for you. Do not believe them." Amara stared into her mother's eyes, seeing fire she'd never noticed before. "Your worth is not in goats," Mama continued. "Your worth is in here." She pressed Amara's chest, over her heart, and in here, she touched Amara's temple. "What you know, what you feel, what you dream, that belongs to you alone. They cannot buy it. They cannot take it. Do you understand?" "I think so." "Then say it." Mama's grip tightened. "Say, I am more than goats. I am more than goats." Again. "I am more than goats." Again, until you believe it. Amara repeated the words until her voice grew hoarse, until the moon began its descent toward dawn, until something shifted inside her, a tiny flame of defiance that neither drought nor uncles nor distant husbands could extinguish. When the sky began to lighten, Mama produced the small bundle she'd brought. Inside, wrapped in layers of cloth, was a pouch no bigger than Amara's palm. "Dried herbs," Mama explained. "For protection. For courage. For remembering. Keep it with you always. When you feel alone, hold it and know that part of me goes with you." Amara pressed the pouch to her chest, feeling its small weight. "I'll never lose it. One more thing." Mama reached into her wrapper and produced something Amara never expected, a small notebook, its pages dog-eared and faded, and a stub of pencil. "This was mine. From before I married your father, when I too dreamed of school." Amara stared at the notebook. "You never told me. There are many things I never told you." Mama's smile was sad. "Perhaps too many. But I kept this all these years, hoping something. I don't know what. Take it. Hide it. Use it when you can. Let it remind you that you are not just a body to be sold. You are a mind, a spirit, a person. Dawn painted the eastern sky in shades of orange and pink. In the compound, a rooster crowed. Soon, the men would come. Amara tucked the notebook and pouch into the folds of her clothing, close to her skin, close to her heart. Then she and her mother walked back to the hut, hand in hand, to wake the children for the last time. They came with the sun. Amara heard them before she saw them, the creak of wooden cart wheels, the low murmur of men's voices, the bleating of goats that were not her uncle's. She stood in the cooking hut doorway, wearing her best wrapper, faded but clean, her hair in the braids Mama had finished. As the sky lightened, behind her, her cousins huddled together. Chitty's face was blotchy from crying. Ngozi clutched Oge, who was too young to understand but old enough to sense something terrible. "Stay inside," Mama told them. "No matter what you hear, stay inside." Uncle Obiora met the visitors at the compound entrance. Amara recognized the elders from yesterday, and with them, a man she hadn't seen before, old, with missing teeth and skin like cracked leather, his eyes small and assessing in a face weathered by too many suns. Baba Tunda. He looked at Amara the way her uncle looked at goats at market, calculating value, checking for flaws, weighing worth. "This is her," Uncle Obiora said. "As promised." Baba Tun circled Amara slowly. She kept her eyes down, as she'd been taught, but she felt his gaze like insects crawling across her skin. "Thin," he pronounced. "But young. She'll fill out with proper feeding." He reached out and grabbed her arm, squeezing the muscle. "Strong enough. She'll work." Mama made a small sound, half gasp, half sob, and Uncle Obiora shot her a warning look. "The goats are outside the compound," Uncle Obiora said. 20, as agreed. "And the cloth?" An elder produced 3 bolts of fabric, cheap stuff, not the quality Mama Kanda sold at market, but cloth nonetheless. Uncle Obiora accepted them with barely a glance. The transaction complete, Baba Tun jerked his head toward the cart. "Come, girl. We've a journey." Amara looked at her mother. For one terrible moment, she thought she might shatter, all her careful composure, all Mama's whispered words, all the courage she'd tried to gather. She might fall to her knees and scream and refuse to move, and what would happen then? Would they drag her? Beat her? Would her cousins watch her broken in the dust? Then she remembered Mama's hands in her hair, Mama's voice repeating, "You are more than goats," the small weight of the pouch and notebook hidden against her skin. She walked to her mother and knelt. "Thank you, Mama. For everything." Mama's hands cupped her face, trembling. "Remember. I will. Always. Always." They embraced, briefly, fiercely, the kind of hug that tries to pour a lifetime into a single moment. Then Amara stood, turned, and walked to the cart. She did not look back. If she looked back, she would break, and she had promised herself, had promised Mama, that she would not break. Not yet. Not here. The cart lurched forward. Beside her, Baba Tun smelled of stale sweat and palm wine. Behind them, the goats bleated, her price, her value, 20 animals traded for a human life. The village shrank as they traveled. Amara watched the baobab tree grow smaller, the cluster of huts diminishing until they were just shapes in the distance. She watched the path she'd walked thousands of times, to the river, to the market, to school on the rare days she was allowed, recede behind her. Children played near the road. They stopped to stare at the cart, at the old man, at the young girl with braids and empty eyes. One of them, a girl about 8, waved. Amara did not wave back. She couldn't. Her hand would not obey. Instead, she turned forward and watched the unfamiliar landscape unfold, different trees, different rocks, different sky. Everything the same and everything changed. Hungry? Baba Tund asked, hours into the journey. He produced a piece of dried meat from a pouch. Amara shook her head. She hadn't eaten since yesterday, but her stomach was a knot of fear and grief. Suit yourself. He chewed noisily. You'll learn to eat when food is offered. In my compound, we don't waste. My compound. Already claiming her. Already erasing everything she'd been, they traveled through the afternoon and into evening, stopping only when darkness made the path impossible. Baba Tund built a small fire and unrolled sleeping mats from the cart. You sleep there. He pointed to a mat near the fire. I sleep here. Don't try running. The bush at night will kill you faster than I would. Amara lay on the mat, staring at stars through the acacia branches. Somewhere behind her, her mother was probably doing the same thing, staring at the same stars, separated by distance and circumstance and 20 goats. She reached beneath her wrapper and touched the pouch. Dried herbs. Her mother's love. Protection, she'd said. Courage. Amara didn't feel protected. She didn't feel courageous. She felt hollowed out, scraped clean, reduced to nothing but a body on a cart heading toward an unknown future, but she also felt the notebook against her skin, the blank pages waiting for words. She felt Mama's braids tight against her scalp, each one a thread connecting her to home. She felt the small flame inside her, flickering but alive. That I am more than goats. She whispered it to the stars, to the darkness, to herself. That I am more than goats. That in the morning, the journey would continue. By the next sunset, she would reach Baba Tund's compound. She would meet his other wives. She would begin whatever life awaited her, but tonight, under unfamiliar stars, Amara held her mother's gifts and refused to disappear completely.